Stop. Before you think, before you scroll, before you rationalize anything, open your banking app. Look at your checking account balance. Don't judge it, just look at it. Now answer this honestly. If your car broke down tomorrow, could you fix it without panic? If you lost your job next week, could you breathe for a month? If a medical bill showed up tonight, would you handle it calmly? If your chest tightened even a little, this video is for you. Not because you're bad with money, not because you're irresponsible, but because your brain has been living in threat mode. And threat mode changes everything. Today isn't about saving money. It's about regaining command over your nervous system. You are going to build a $5,000 emergency fund. Not someday, not when things get easier, but starting now, from wherever you are. And before we talk about numbers, budgets, or tactics, you're going to do one thing in the next 60 minutes. You're going to create a separate savings account, a high-yield one, if possible, one that is not connected to your spending habits, not to save yet, just to claim space. Because the moment you create a place for safety, your brain begins to believe safety is possible. That alone changes how you think. Now, let's talk about why this matters. When you have no financial buffer, your body doesn't see money problems. It sees danger. Your nervous system is built to scan for threat. And when your account is near zero, threat feels constant, so your body releases stress hormones. Your mind becomes reactive. Your decisions shrink to the short term. You stop thinking about growth. You start thinking about survival. And survival thinking is expensive. It makes you choose speed over wisdom, relief over stability. Now over later. This isn't a personality flaw. It's biology. When your brain is in threat mode, it cannot plan deeply. It cannot think long-term. It cannot tolerate uncertainty. So you make choices that keep you stuck. You buy the cheaper thing that costs more over time. You avoid fixing small problems until they become big ones. You stay in jobs and situations that drain you because risk feels unbearable. Not because you're weak, because your nervous system is trying to keep you alive. That's why having even a small buffer changes your personality, not your values, your capacity. A person with $50 in their account and a person with $5,000 do not experience the same world. One reacts, the other chooses. That's what you're building here. Not money, choice. Before we go further, here's your second action. Write this sentence down somewhere visible. I am becoming a person who creates safety. Not I am rich. Not I am disciplined. Safety comes first. Power follows. Why $5,000? Not because it makes you wealthy, but because it changes your posture. It's the amount where most emergencies stop being life-threatening and start being logistical. Car trouble becomes a repair, not a crisis. Medical bills become an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. Job instability becomes a problem to solve, not a prison. $5,000 is not luxury money. It's sovereignty money. It moves you from everything could collapse to I can handle what arrives. And something subtle happens when that shift occurs. Your nervous system relaxes. Your mind stops scanning for disaster. Your thinking expands. You stop asking, how do I survive this week? And start asking, how do I build the next year? That is cognitive freedom. Most people think an emergency fund is financial. It's neurological. It gives your brain permission to plan. It gives your body permission to breathe. It gives your identity permission to expand. That's why this fund isn't optional. It's foundational. Before investing, before side hustles, before leveling up. You need a floor, and $5,000 is that floor. Not forever, but first. Now here's the part that surprises people. You don't build this with motivation. You build it with structure. And structure begins in the next chapter, where we confront where your money is actually going. Not with shame, with clarity, because clarity is the beginning of power. Now we stop guessing, and we stop hoping. We look. Not to shame yourself, not to punish yourself, but to take back authorship. Because money only feels mysterious when you avoid seeing it. Most people say, I don't even know where my money goes. That sentence is powerlessness, disguised as confusion. You're about to replace it with clarity. Today, you will download your last 30 days of transactions. Every charge, every transfer, every dollar that left your account. And you will categorize them, not in vague terms like food or fun, but in truth, delivery, coffee, subscriptions, impulse purchases, convenience, comfort, status, boredom. You are not tracking spending. You are tracking behavior. Because money moves where identity lives. What you spend on reveals what you soothe with, what you avoid, what you reach for when you feel tired, unseen, or overwhelmed. This is not about becoming rigid, it's about becoming intentional. There are three types of spending. Spending that builds your future, spending that genuinely restores you, spending that quietly keeps you stuck. You are not required to eliminate joy. You are required to eliminate unconsciousness. When you see your numbers, something powerful happens. You stop feeling poor and start feeling in charge, because suddenly money isn't happening to you. You are directing it. Here is your action. Today, create a simple list. Top 5 categories you spend on. Write the monthly total next to each. Then write this question: which of these actually makes my life better? Keep those. Then ask, which of these only makes the moment easier? Those are your leaks. You don't need to close all of them. Just one. One leak closed is authority restored. That one decision alone can become your entire emergency fund over time. Not through deprivation, through alignment. You're not taking things away from yourself. You're choosing where your power goes. This is where most people fail. Not because the math is hard, but because the identity is threatened. Saving money forces you to confront who you think you are. Maybe you are the generous one. Maybe you are the fun one. Maybe you are the one who treats themselves. Those identities feel real, but they were built during survival. And survival identities do not scale. To build your emergency fund, you don't need discipline. You need a new self-image, not someone who restricts, someone who commands. Old identity, I deserve relief. New identity, I deserve stability. Old identity, I'll start when things calm down. New identity, I create calm by acting. Old identity, I can't save. New identity, I haven't been structured yet. You are not becoming boring, you are becoming unshakable. When you say no to an unnecessary expense, you are not missing out. You are proving to your nervous system that safety comes from inside you now. That is a profound psychological upgrade. Your brain is learning, I am not dependent on impulses to feel okay. That is sovereignty. Here is your action. Write this sentence and read it every morning. I am a person who creates safety before pleasure. Not forever. Not rigidly. Just first. Because once safety is established, pleasure becomes clean, not compensatory. This is not a budgeting decision. This is an identity transition. From reactive to directive. From anxious to anchored. From survival to leadership. And now that your identity is shifting, we can build the system that makes it automatic. Because willpower fades, systems endure. That comes next. This is where everything becomes simple. Not easy. Simple. You are about to remove willpower from the process. Because willpower is unreliable. Structure is permanent. Here is the rule that changes everything. Your future self gets paid first. Not your landlord. Not your subscriptions. Not your cravings. Your future self. Decide your weekly number. $5,000 divided by 1 year is about $96 per week. If that feels heavy, start with 50. If that still feels heavy, start with 25. Momentum matters more than perfection. Now you automate it, not later. Not when you feel motivated. Today, the moment your paycheck lands, money moves to safety before you can touch it. That's the psychological trick. You are not trying to save. You are designing your environment so saving happens without your personality being involved. This is how powerful people operate. They don't argue with themselves. They remove the need to argue. Open your banking app. Set a recurring transfer. Checking to emergency fund. Weekly or bi-weekly. Automatic. And once it's done, you stop negotiating. You let the system work. Now, one more move that makes this unstoppable. Name the account something that means something. Not savings, not emergency. Name it. Not today fund. Calm fund. Freedom buffer. Safety first. Every time you see it, you remember why it exists. This is not about money. This is about nervous system regulation. Now, one more rule. You do not touch this fund unless it is truly an emergency. Not boredom, not a sale, not discomfort. Emergency only. That boundary is how your authority solidifies. Where you keep this money determines whether it protects you or tempts you. Most people sabotage themselves here. They keep it too close. Same bank, same app, same visibility, which turns safety into spending money. You need distance. Your emergency fund should be easy to deposit into, slightly annoying to withdraw from. That delay is protection. Open a high-yield savings account at a different bank, not because of interest, because of psychology. When money is one click away, impulse wins. When money takes 2 days, wisdom has time to arrive. This separation trains restraint automatically. You are building friction on purpose. Friction is not punishment. It is leadership, and you are now leading your future. Your emergency fund is not for convenience. It is for authority. This is your shield, not a cushion, not a comfort. A shield. It keeps panic out. It keeps clarity in. And when your shield is strong, you stop making desperate decisions. You stop negotiating with chaos. You stop living at the edge. And now that your shield is being built, we confront the final enemy. Not debt, not income. Status. Because status spending is what destroys buffers faster than anything else. That's next. Most people don't spend money to solve problems. They spend money to soothe identity. They buy things to feel powerful, to feel respected, to feel successful, to feel caught up. But none of that is real power. Real power is not needing to prove anything. Status spending is what happens when your nervous system is still looking for validation. New car, new clothes, new phone, new experiences. All of it whispers the same message. Look at me. I'm doing okay. But doing okay doesn't come from looking okay. It comes from being unshakable. Here is the truth most people never hear. Looking rich and becoming secure are opposite strategies. One burns cash. The other builds freedom. When you choose security over appearance, something quiet happens inside you. Your identity stabilizes. You stop needing the world to confirm your worth. You start confirming it through your actions. Here is your question now. Does this purchase make my future stronger or just my image louder? That single filter will save you thousands. When you stop playing the status game, you win instantly because you exit a competition that was designed to keep you broke. Your emergency fund grows faster the moment you stop spending to signal anything. You stop buying permission to feel valid. You become valid by design. That is sovereignty. This is what $5,000 actually does. It clears your mind. Right now, your brain is running background calculations all day. Can I afford this? What if something happens? How long until payday? What if I mess up? That mental noise is exhausting. It steals your creativity, your patience, your presence. When you hit $5,000, those calculations quiet, not disappear, but soften. You stop living in what if. You start living in what's next. You move from reactive thinking to directional thinking. That is leadership, not in business, not in money. In your own mind, you gain the ability to pause before deciding, to breathe before reacting, to choose instead of cope. And that's the real gift. Your emergency fund doesn't just protect your finances, it protects your nervous system. It returns your mind to you. And when your mind is yours again, your life stops being accidental. It becomes authored. This is why this fund matters. Not because of emergencies, but because it makes you ungovernable by panic. You are no longer negotiating with fear. You are directing your future. Now that you understand what this gives you, the final part is the roadmap. How to build it month by month, without burnout, without perfection, just momentum. That's next. This is the part where everything becomes real. Not inspirational, not hypothetical, practical. You are going to build this fund in layers, quietly, predictably, without burning yourself out. Month 1 is awareness and structure. You are not trying to save aggressively yet. You are stabilizing the system. You download your last 30 days of transactions. You cancel anything you don't use. You open your emergency account. You automate your first transfer, even if it's $20. The win of month 1 is not money. It's control. You prove to yourself that money now moves because you decide. Month 2 and 3 are discipline. This is where your nervous system resists. Not because saving is hard, but because your identity is changing. You will want to reward yourself. You will feel like you're being deprived. You're not. You're withdrawing from chaos. You let the automation run. You stop touching the emergency fund. You protect it like it protects you. By the end of month 3, you will have your first real buffer. And that buffer changes how you walk through the world. Month 4 is momentum. You cross the first psychological line, $1,000. This is the moment most people sabotage themselves. They celebrate by spending. You celebrate by not needing to. You take a screenshot. You save it. You let it become proof that you can build stability. Month 5 and 6 are acceleration. Now that the habit is alive, you optimize. You cut one more leak. You redirect one more expense. You increase your automated amount slightly if possible. Not dramatically, just intentionally. You don't rush. You reinforce. Month 7 through 9 are identity lock-in. At this stage, you're no longer trying to save. You are someone who has savings. That distinction matters. Your decisions change without effort. You pause before spending. You think before reacting. You choose before coping. You're not forcing discipline. You are embodying it. Month 10 through 12 are execution. This is where most people relax. You don't. Not because you're rigid, but because you understand what's at stake. You are 1 year away from sovereignty. You finish what you started. You cross $5,000. And something irreversible happens. You stop seeing money as a threat. You start seeing it as structure. Now listen carefully. This system will work if you stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a feeling. Safety is a decision. You don't need motivation. You need movement. Today, you will open the account, automate the transfer, write your identity statement, and step into authorship. Not tomorrow. Not after this week. Today. Because a year from now, one of two things will be true. You will either have $5,000 in your emergency fund, or you will still be negotiating with chaos. The difference will not be luck, or income, or talent. It will be the moment you decided to stop reacting and start commanding. You are not saving money. You are reclaiming authority. You are not building a fund. You are building a nervous system that does not collapse under pressure. You are not becoming wealthy. You are becoming sovereign. And once you become that person, money stops being the problem. It becomes the tool. That is the shift. That is the power. That is what this $5,000 actually represents.